Some of the fastest machines ever built came out in the 70s. No turbos, no traction control, just raw, unfiltered power. These cars crushed the quarter mile straight from the factory. Let's count down some of the fastest 70s muscle cars over the quarter mile. Closing at a 13.99-second quarter mile at 101 miles per hour, this 1970 Mercury Cyclone spoiler 429 SCJ is one of the most overlooked muscle cars of the 70s. While the Mustang was taking all the attention, Mercury was quietly making moves. At its heart is the 429 cubic inch Super Cobra Jet V8, which could produce 370 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque. The SCJ version featured solid lifters, a Holley 780 cubic feet per minute carburetor, 4 bolt mains, and an extra-large engine oil cooler. This was a race motor presented as a street-legal car. Design-wise, it was unmistakably NASCAR-inspired. Starting from the pointed nose, blackout trim, and rear deck spoiler, it looked like it belonged in the Daytona 500. While the car was big and heavy, it made up for this with linear acceleration and bulletproof drivetrain components. It never reached the fame of the Roadrunners or Boss Mustangs, but if you are an enthusiast, the Cyclone Spoiler SCJ was one of the most potent street cars of its time. It has also been passed over in the Ford Muscle portfolio. With a verified quarter-mile time of 13.75 seconds at 103.56 miles per hour, the SD455 ranks 10th on our list. At its heart was the Super Duty 455 cubic inch V8 engine, producing 290 horsepower. The SD455 engine was a high-output version of the standard 455 V8. What made the SD455 a beast wasn't just its brute force, it was how it was built, featuring a strengthened cylinder block, 4 bolt main bearings, aluminum intake, and forged pistons. It was a race motor in all aspects, designed to take 7,000 RPM, even though this was recorded lower on paper. It featured the legendary Screaming Chicken logo that became the Trans Am's hallmark, rally wheels, and wide flares. Notably, the SD455 wasn't produced in large numbers, and even fewer made it into 4-speed models. The 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge Ram Air 4 achieved a groundbreaking 13.72-second quarter mile at 104 miles per hour, according to Hot Rod magazine. At its heart is the ferocious 400 cubic inch Ram Air 4 V8 engine, which could produce 370 horsepower. It's a special engine featuring round port heads, a high lift cam, forged pistons, and an aluminum intake manifold, all designed to produce high RPM performance. Coupled with a close ratio Muncie M21 4-speed and a stout 4.33 rear-end gears, the Ram Air 4 launches like a bullet. It outperforms many larger big block rivals, despite having a 400 cubic inch engine. And this car isn't just fast, it wants to see you coming. It featured bold colors like Orbit Orange, the colorful Judge decals, and that iconic rear wing. Only around 400 hardtop RAF Judges were produced, making it a rare gem for collectors today. The 1970 Oldsmobile 442 W30 tore through the quarter mile in 13.6 seconds at 102 miles per hour. It was powered by a 455 cubic inch V8, producing 370 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. The W30 package included a special camshaft, high compression heads, aluminum intake, low restriction dual exhaust, and a functional fiberglass hood with twin scoops feeding cold air to the car. Now, what makes the W30 make our list is how refined its power felt. Unlike its Mopar rivals that shook and screamed, the 442 delivered smooth force with near-effortless acceleration. Today, the W30 still remains the peak of Oldsmobile muscle with its refined engineering, brute strength, and understated class. The 1970 Plymouth Superbird 426 HEMI could clock a 13.5-second quarter mile at 104 miles per hour. But the Superbird wasn't just a fast car, it was iconic. It was built with one goal in mind: to dominate NASCAR. It was designed specifically for Richard Petty to bring him back to the brand, and the result was a street-legal machine with radical aerodynamics. To date, it stands as the most feared Mopar engine ever produced. It was powered by a 426 cubic inch HEMI V8 rated at 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. It was specifically designed for racing, featuring hemispherical combustion chambers, forged internals, and dual 4-barrel carbs. The design was undeniably for a motor race car, with a 19-inch nose cone, aerodynamic rear window plug, and that massive rear wing that towered over most muscle cars. These features weren't just for aesthetics. Wind tunnel tests showed these features worked great at high speeds. In fact, the Superbird could achieve over 150 miles per hour, speeds that were rare at that time. Now, only 135 Superbirds were produced, with the 426 HEMI making it one of the most valuable collectibles today. Most were built with the 440 engines, which were still quick, but the HEMI was the true icon. This car clocked 13.38 seconds at 104 miles per hour in Motor Trend testing. And it wasn't just about speed. In an era where comfort and performance rarely went together, Buick gave us both. At its core was the 455 cubic inch stage 1 V8, which could deliver 345 horsepower and a tidal wave of torque of 510 pound-feet. Thanks to the high-flow heads, a hotter camshaft, larger valves, and increased compression. And it delivered power smoothly thanks to the tuned suspension and a limited slip differential. Only 124 Stage 1 GSXs were built in '71, making it a rarer version compared to its 1970 predecessor. Despite losing fame for years, the 1971 GSX has become one of the most respected sleepers of the era. This car ripped through the quarter mile in 13.4 seconds at 105 miles per hour, according to tests by Superstock and Drag Illustrated. It was unmistakably Ford's quiet killer. At its heart was a 429 cubic inch Super Cobra Jet V8, a race-bred powerhouse rated at 375 horsepower, but the real output could go well over 400. With solid lifters, 4-bolt mains, heavy-duty connecting rods, and a 780 cubic feet per minute polycarb, this engine was built to rev and take off like a missile. The 429 SCJ was a direct descendant of Ford's NASCAR efforts, and it showed. These beasts could handle triple-digit speed for sustained periods. Although the Cobra SCJ does get the same hype as the Boss Mustang or HEMI Cuda, real collectors know that it packs the same performance. Tested by car and driver, the Dodge Challenger tore through the quarter-mile mark in 13.2 seconds at 107 miles per hour, an impressive feat for a car weighing over 4,000 pounds. It was powered by the legendary 426 HEMI, Chrysler's flagship performance engine. It could deliver 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. Featuring hemispherical combustion chambers, dual 4-barrel carbs, forged internals, and a solid lifter cam, this engine was designed for high-speed dominance. The HEMI could be paired with either a heavy-duty 727 torque flight automatic or a pistol grip 4-speed manual, and came standard with driveline components to handle the engine's performance. Most buyers went for 3.54 or 4.10 rear gears, which launched it like a missile. The Dodge Challenger RT has more space and comfort compared to its cousin, the Cuda, but its performance was just as good. It came with heavy-duty suspension, power front disc brakes, and a functional twin-scoop hood. And only about 356 hardtop RETs were made with HEMI in 1970, making them a rare gem. This car is a combination of style, comfort, and brutal performance, making it one of the few dual-purpose cars of the era. As tested by CarCraft magazine, this car tore through the quarter mile in 13.1 seconds at 107 miles per hour. At its core was the legendary 426 HEMI V8 producing 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torques. It had hemispherical combustion chambers for optimal airflow, forged pistons, a solid camshaft, dual Carter AFB carbs, delivering that optimal performance without breaking a sweat. Thanks to its shorter wheelbase and slightly lower weight than the Challenger, the Cuda had a slight edge in acceleration and handling. The HEMI Cuda was available with a heavy-duty 727 torque flight automatic or a pistol grip 4-speed manual, coupled with a Dana 60 rear axle and gear ratios like 4.10s that made its hard launches very effective. The HEMI Cuda could go head-to-head with every other muscle from the 70s, from linear acceleration, Mopar flair, and speed. The functional shaker hoods, blackout grills, fender gills, and the legendary hockey stick stripes screamed that it meant business. There were just 284 HEMI Cudas made with a 4-speed manual, making them an absolute gem. Often crowned as the king of the 70s, the 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454 LS6 tore through the quarter mile in 13.1 seconds at 108 miles per hour, as tested by Superstock and Drag Illustrated. It was powered by the ferocious 454 cubic inch LS6 V8, which was conservatively rated at 450 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. Even today, these numbers demand respect. It featured solid lifters, high-compression aluminum pistons, a Holley 800 CFM 4-barrel carb, and a heavy-duty bottom end that could handle just about anything you threw at it. It is coupled with either a TH400 automatic or a Muncie M22 Rock Crusher 4-speed manual, and rear-end options like 4.10S. Even without tuning, this was a mid-13-second car. The cowl induction hood with a vacuum-operated flapper scoop gave it that aggressive stance, and when the flapper hood flew open under wide throttle and the secondaries activated, the intake roar was crazy. GM hasn't produced a car this powerful until the modern ZR1 and ZL1, and there you have it. 10 of the fastest muscle cars of the 1970s, measured by pure quarter-mile dominance. No hype, just horsepower.